It was just meant to be from the beginning.
Yeah.
And we got married after 4 months of dating.
Yin and yang for sure, because we are like nights and day, but somehow our differences are compatible.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's maybe the glue that kind of keeps us together, that has kept us together for the last 24 years.
Hey, what's up? What's going on?
Hey, so we realized that after all this time of us just showing you videos, like you don't really know a whole lot about our story.
No, you don't. We never really did a full how we met video, and I think it's time to do one.
Okay, so picture it, New Orleans, 1997, and I had just graduated from high school. Faustino had already been out of high school about a year at that time, and like I said, I had just graduated. I had this little rinky-dink car that could barely get me from A to B, but I decided to take it out on this night and go to dinner with my mom and my friend. Now, on our way to dinner, the car worked absolutely fine. We had no issues or anything, but it was on our way home that we got a flat tire. It was 3 females, 3 ladies in the car. None of us knew how to change a tire. And I'm not gonna say that we were on the side of the road long, because we really weren't. Like, the first car that pulled up was Faustino and his friend.
I was one of the guys. I wasn't driving the vehicle. I was one of the guys in the car, and my friend actually pulled over because he seen 3 women on the side of the road, and of course he's like a little playboy, so he wanted to holler at them. And I really wasn't. I was all the shy type, not much to say, so I just went to go ahead and change in the flat tire. And as he's over there, you know, you can hear him in the background talking to Tenaj and whoever else he was talking to. And I just went ahead and just started changing the tire. And then after I fixed changing the tire, Tenaj came up behind me and then slid her phone number in my back pocket.
I did, because I'm a chooser. I know what I want and I go for it. So anyway, it wasn't even like that per se. But the guys were talking and they were entertaining us and they were doing the absolute most, but they weren't helping to fix the tire. So Faustino was the only one that was actually putting in work, and he was fixing the tire. And like he said, he was super shy. So it was like he was a mute. Like, he wasn't saying anything to them. He wasn't saying anything to us. He was just fixing the tire. And once the tire was fixed, I wrote my number down, and I figured they thought that one of the guys who was talking to us was going to get the number. But I just went over and I walked over to Faustino. He was still dealing with the tire, and I slid my number in his back pocket. And yeah, after that, the rest is history. Like, they drove off and we drove off, and it's like as soon as I got home, I got a phone call. And it was from Faustino. So no, he wasn't saying a whole lot on the road, but as soon as he got home, he wanted to talk. So he called and we set up a date to meet each other, like, I don't know, maybe 2 days from the day that we had met.
Yeah.
And an hour before it was time for us to go on a date, I canceled. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was, but I canceled. And I told him, of all things, like, I told him that my dog was sick. And
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm like, my dog is sick, and I have to be here with her. And yeah, I canceled. But he was super persistent, and about a week later, we actually, you know, hooked up and we went out to dinner. We did a New Orleans thing, especially at that time. Like, we went to this place called Jean's. Mm-hmm. We got a po' boy. We went to the lake. We sat outside and we talked. Now, this was the night before he was supposed to leave and go to the Army. I didn't know this before we had set the date up, but yeah, we were talking like the night that we were talking, the next day at like 6 o'clock in the morning, the recruiter was coming to pick him up.
Yeah, so after we were spending the whole night on the lake, basically just drove home after dropping her off, and I had like maybe an hour to like shower and get ready, and then I got picked up and went off to the Army. And then we kept in touch via, pen pals. We was writing letters. And then we didn't keep touch for about a year. I don't know what happened.
Well, I know what happened.
Right.
Well, what happened was, okay, so when I met Faustino, like I said, I just graduated from high school, and I was on a break with from my high school boyfriend, and we were on a break. Like, we figured that, we were going to go and meet other people, and this just wasn't working out or whatever. So at that time, I met Faustino. And then when Faustino went off to the Army, my high school boyfriend and I had gotten back together. So Faustino and I, had kind of lost touch. But a year after that, I called Faustino because at this time I was in college. So I came home for Thanksgiving. I can remember it was a Thanksgiving break. Mm-hmm. And my friend was having a wedding. And this just so happened to be a friend that, like, I knew the bride. I went to school with the bride, and Faustino went to school with the groom. So we knew the couple. And when I got home, I'm like, okay, well, let me call Faustino and see if he's going to go to the wedding. So I called him, and I called him at his mom's house. So he doesn't even live at his mom's house. So I just called thinking that maybe he's there. Right. And when I called, he picked up the phone. And I'm like, oh my God, well, hello.
I so happened to be, it was Thanksgiving break for the Army. And, we was taking vacation time. So I was actually home for Thanksgiving. And I did pick up the phone. I remember the phone call. And I was like, that's weird. Because, like,
how she even know I'm here?
Right, like,
because I didn't. It just was. I just took a chance and called.
So she just so happened to take a chance and call the house, my mom's house, that I was just happened to be in for vacation. And I pick up the phone, then I go, and I'm like, I go in the room all private. I'm like, what? So I'm all like in shock and surprised at what's going on. And then she asked me if I wanted to go to a wedding.
I'm like, hey, I'm home. Do you want to? I said, hey, I'm home. And he's like, okay, well, can I come and see you? Like, immediately. So then he came over and he saw me, and we talked outside my mom's house. And, I told him Kim and Bo are getting married. Yes. We should go to the wedding. And we made a date to go to the wedding. This time, I kept the date. I didn't cancel on him, and he didn't cancel on me. And we went to the wedding, and we had an amazing time. And we sat there and we talked, and, we caught up because we had been out of each other's lives for about a year or whatnot. So we laughed and we danced and we ate, and yeah, we've been together ever since.
Yes.
Almost, I think at that time we said that that's going to be us next. And that was November. And the following March is when we were married. Yes. And that was like 24 years ago. So, yeah, it was like 2000.
The coolest part of the thing about it is, like, if we go back even more into our history, like, we actually lived like near each other when we were growing up.
Around the corner.
Right. We after we started dating, clearly, we started telling our stories, and we grew up, I'd say maybe like 6 blocks from each other when we were maybe like, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. And then when we moved to the different part of town, coincidentally, she moved also. And once again, we were maybe like, just 3 miles from each other.
Not even. Right. So the thing about it is that, like, we've always been in touch. Like, we've always been connected or around each other in some type of way. Like, we were 6 blocks or 3 blocks away from each other when we were growing up. But some of the people that I went to middle school with went to high school with him. Right. Or some of the people that I went to elementary school with went to middle school with him. So we've always been connected. And he was 3 blocks away from me as we were growing up. And then, like he said, once we moved and our parents, bought their homes or whatnot, they bought homes, and the homes were
like 3 miles,
3 or 4, away from each other. So we've like always been connected in this crazy, weird way.
Yeah, and another thing, if you didn't know, I'm an Aries, and Tenaj is a Libra. And Libra and Aries are like the yin and yang of the horoscopes because they start the seasons. I'm spring and she's fall. So we're like we balance each other. And if you can look it up, like they're like the two signs that go with each other.
They're the cardinal signs.
Yeah, they're the cardinal signs. And yes, that's pretty cool. So it was meant to be it was just meant to be from the beginning.
Yin and yang for sure, because we are like nights and day, but somehow our differences are compatible.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's maybe the glue that kind of keeps us together, that has kept us together for the last 24 years, because if we were more of the same, like I think that if we were the same, we would bump heads a little bit more because I have this strong personality, and if Tino had the same strong personality, I don't think we'd be together.
Right, we'd probably be like,
you know what I'm saying?
But you know, it's a good balance. It works out because I have weaknesses and she has attributes. You know, she has strengths and vice versa. So we help each other out in that department.
Is it really called vice versa? Is it vice versa?
Yeah. I don't know. It's probably vice versa, but vice versa sounds a lot better to me.
I mean, for sure.
It's probably not that.
It's your world, squirrel. That's it. We got married. And started our family like
real young.
Immediately.
I guess you could say. We got married. I guess after 4 months of dating.
Yeah.
We got married after 4 months of dating, and we were new to the world, as I guess we
were
say down
super
here.
young.
Yeah, we still had water. We're still wet behind the ears, you know. So
we knew nothing about marriage, nothing about commitment, nothing about relationships, living together, family, any of this. Everything we learned together, and I think that's the beautiful part, because we learned on the job, together.
OJT.
And you can look at us now and you're like, oh my God, they are so perfect and blah, blah, blah. But we have to work. And we are still a work in progress, because when we started off, you know, Faustino was in the Army and I was in college, and we were living two totally different lives.
Right.
But we were married.
Yeah, we were married. I think we spent the first
4 years.
4 years.
The 4 years that it took me to get my degree is the 4 years that we
never lived together.
We were
for 4 years of being married. I was at Fort Benning. She was in Grambling, and then I transferred from Fort Benning to Fort Hood, Texas, a little closer, but she was still at Grambling, and I was basically always 4 to 6 hours away, and I was only able to go up there when I could, typical holidays, 4 days. You know, just whenever you're able to, and whenever I was able to afford to, because we had just gotten married. And so we never lived together for the whole 4 years.
We didn't live together until our 5th year in, and I think that might be another reason why we lasted so long. I think so.
It was because I think we were determined to make sure everybody knows that we could pull this off, because we had a lot of naysayers.
I feel like. I don't know. I just feel like, I feel like everything happened for a reason, is what I feel like. You know, we are 24 years in, and no, we didn't live together until the 5th year. But I feel like if we were going through the growing pains and we were together at that time, then maybe it would not have worked, because, I wasn't willing to listen to anything,
So that gave us time to be married, but
still have a life,
but still be committed to the word marriage
of being married,
right?
Because I was a full-time student, but not only was I a full-time student at the time, but I was a full-time mother. So it was a lot,
Yeah, and I was in the Army just training, and I was awake. So, and my hours were always different and weird and complicated, and it was just a different world. We were living married but separate. It was weird, but we made it work out.
Sure, married but separate. For sure, married but living separate.
And this was like before FaceTime. This was when like
we had
Prime Code. Y'all remember? I don't know if y'all remember Prime Code.
We
but
had
it was like
no way.
No, Nextel. Like
Yahoo
Nextel.
or something.
Yeah, Yahoo was just coming in. Nextel. So we didn't keep in touch like y'all keep in touch now. Like the internet was just starting.
Yeah,
like,
it's easy for y'all for long distance relationships.
Oh, it is
so
my God.
easy for y'all.
Yeah.
I feel like if we had, I don't know.
We were on telephones. Like I remember like when we went out to the field to do training, like I would have like this Nextel phone, which was Sprint, so it was kind of like I had the best service. Everybody would come to me with them crazy little walkie-talkie. Y'all remember Sprint? But anyway, it was like nothing but cell phones. Y'all got FaceTime now. It's different.
It's definitely easier for people that are trying to pursue long-distance relationships. I don't think that I would have been too interested in FaceTime anyway at that time because we were moving. There was a lot of moving pieces.
It was a lot of moving pieces.
We
were definitely young-minded.
I think that the way that our relationship happened, the way that it developed, the way that it blossomed, and what it is now, it was all perfect timing. Because if we would have lived together from the beginning, I think things would have been different.
Yeah.
If we would have did like the whole traditional marriage, I think that things would have been different.
We probably would have definitely pulled each other's hairs out.
I don't feel like we could have possibly lasted as long because I think that with us living in separate places, it gave us a chance to like come into ourselves and realize, well, I got a chance to realize who Tenaj is and what Tenaj wants and what she expects out of life. And I don't know if you were able to do that as well, but I think that that's what made me secure in being a wife because I know, who I am.
Yeah, I think it did. I think it helped out a lot because we were able to learn from each other at a distance and come into connection with each other after what we learned from just being on the phone with each other and things like that. Because I think if you're there every day and you're learning all this, it's kind of, and then
it's overwhelming. It can't.
It's right, and then you're in each other's space.
Wait, Gypsy, wait. I'm sorry.
It's definitely overwhelming, but I definitely think that helped out. So I think long distance relationships can definitely work out if you're committed to them.
Yeah, I think that everybody has their own like relationship structure and what works for them, and we were able to stumble upon something that works for us and that was able to keep us together for all this time. And I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, because I definitely remember getting clowned on. And not clowned on, but
I can imagine.
They're like, oh, they would say, well, how are you here married, but your wife in school over there? Why don't you just go to school in Texas? Or in Georgia? And we're like, well, that's not where she wants to go.
That's not what I wanted to do.
She wanted to go to Grambling, and that's just what it was. So, and they just didn't understand that. But I guess some of their wives either went to school and where they were or just didn't do anything, just be like military stay-at-home wives. And I was like, I think it's better if we like set up a future instead of just staying at home taking care of kids, Yeah,
and the thing about that is those same people that were questioning him about our relationship dynamic and our family, they're not together anymore. Like they had all the things, you know what I'm saying? Right. They were together. The wife was in school or working close to them. They had, it worked for them at the time. It didn't work for us, but we found what works for us and we continue to find what works for us. So that's what we suggest that other people do. Just find what works for you because people are going to be in your ear like this is not the right person for you. You're not making the right decision, but you know what you want. Because if I would have listened to anybody back then, this channel would be Tenaj Tells the Truth.
And I know when I told people back in the Army, because I really didn't have any I guess I had 2 friends back home, but everybody was in the Army, and I told them I was getting married. They were like, who? Married? Who?
I didn't even know you had a girlfriend.
Right, because I was up at Fort Benning, and
he was quiet over there
too. And every weekend, typical guys, every Friday, everybody's off of work on Friday. They would be like, hey, let's go to Atlanta. They would be like, let's go out. Let's go out in Columbus, Georgia. Let's go out to Atlanta. And they were like, I always invite me. And I'd be like, no, I ain't going. That is, so they never really see me go out and be with women. Because I would say, no, I'm not going out. I'm going back home. I'm going home. Or, I'm just chilling. Where am I going with this? Hold on. Definitely had some people that were like, man, you're crazy, and who is this person?
For sure.
Yeah, and like a lot of naysayers, like, who is this?
Yeah, I have friends like that too. They're like, okay, well, I'm getting married in March. Well, to who?
and it was
who
quick.
Who are you getting married to?
Like 4 months.
Yeah, it was November is when we rekindled everything, and March is when we walked down the aisle. Yep.
It's crazy. It was crazy,
I'm talking about nobody thought it would last.
Right.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. Did you even think it'd last?
I didn't know what to think.
I didn't know what to think either. I was
just going along with.
Like, okay, well, this seems right.
I saw on TV, what I saw my parents, just like stuff like I
didn't know what to think. I didn't have any expectations of like life and marriage and what to expect and none of it. And I was the only person that I had known that was married. Like nobody else that I had graduated with, well, except for Kim.
Right,
Kim
she
and Bo,
just got married.
Yeah,
but,
Kim and Bo were the only couple that I knew that was married, and they're still married till this day.
They are.
I love them.
They are. I played football with Vince. I went to high school with him, and it's just a small world that.
And Kim was my roommate,
right.
my roommate at Louisiana Tech when we first graduated from high school and went to college. We went to Louisiana Tech, and we were roommates together. And yeah.
So New Orleans is a small, big city. So
super small. So they were the only couple that we knew at the time that was married. So we didn't have anything to like base it off of, because Kim and Bo was in Louisiana, and we were all the way, on an opposite side, like hundreds of miles away. So we had to figure it out and make it work. And like Faustino said, we were already 4 years in, almost 5 years in before we even moved in.
Yeah.
Like officially moved in with each other.
Right. When I got back from Iraq and you graduated, I had just gotten back in Iraq and Daniel was born. And then we had like the summer off, or not the summer off.
We didn't even have the summer off. I graduated, and in my cap and gown, we drove to the new house.
Right, from Grambling all the way down to Fort Polk,
where he was stationed,
Louisiana, where I was going to be stationed, where I just got my new duty station for like the next, next 4 years.
So I still had on my cap and gown. We were
first time living
together. But yeah, but that's it. That's our crazy story, all wrapped up in one. Like, we're still together. We are still here 24 years later. We have gone past the bumps and the bruises.
Yes.
And we made it out. Yay, we made it! So I hope you guys enjoyed our story. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave them below. If you have any suggestions on more YouTube content, just make sure you guys leave that below too. Hit that like and subscribe button because that really helps us out.
It does.
Our light is blinking, which indicates that our battery is running low. So I am trying to get all of this wrapped up before it goes off. And I'm going to keep talking until I don't see us on the screen anymore.
All right.
This
Make sure you follow
wonderful.
us on Instagram. Join us on Facebook. We have a Facebook travel group.
Couples Love Travel. That's us.
We only need the two of us together. We only need the two of us together.